what we're going to do today is we're going to replace the a defective tweeter in a MC-6AW indoor-outdoor speaker. I've got two tools that we're going to use to do this. A curved pick or an awl, and then we're going to use a screwdriver, a powered screwdriver with the chuck setting to low. So let's get going on this. The first thing we need to do is we need to get into the speaker itself, and how you do that is this grill, which has been changed to white just for this video. Will show you the contrast of the grill coming out of the cabinet itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the curved end of the awl here to put into the very, very small grill holes on the very side of the grill here, and we're going to apply an upward force to the grill here, so that we're going to pull this out of the chamber. That chamber holds the grill in place by tension, and so we're going to work all the way around the grill here to get this grill out. So as you can see, we're making small little movements on each side of the grill to get that up and out of the channel, and you can see it release on one side. You want to work that around and get that all the way completely out of the frame. Once that's out of the way, you can see the 6 screws that are holding this MC-6AW together, and so we're going to use a powered screwdriver to remove those screws. So very carefully, it's a Phillips head, but very carefully you want to put the screwdriver in here, and you want to remove the screws one by one until they all come out. There are 6 total screws. Sometimes it takes a second to get the screwdriver down on the head of the screw. There we go. We've got all 6 screws out of the MC-6AW baffle. We're going to put those off to the side so that they're not going to scratch the cabinet or do anything to the woofer or tweeter as we finish up here. So now that we've got all these screws, we're going to move these out of the way again so we don't have any troubles with that. Now we're going to separate the baffle from the enclosure. So how that's done is that can sometimes fall apart, or you might have to apply pressure to remove both sides of both pieces. Once that is removed, you'll see some speaker wires that go to the tweeter and to the woofer. You want to be very careful that you don't just pull the cabinet away from this, as it might damage the fragile leads on the tweeters and the woofer. So just for this particular video, we're going to remove all 4 of these. Takes a minute to pull on these and to get them all off. We want to pull all 4, keeping in mind the polarity and the size. That red one's a bugger. Okay, there we go. We're going to put this off to the side, and then we need to use a Phillips screwdriver to remove the 2 screws here that are holding the defective tweeter in place. I'm going to pull this little bar away, and then we're going to pull the tweeter out. As we can see, we've got a defective tweeter here. So we're going to replace that with the known good tweeter here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to align 3 points. You've got a top section here that goes into this groove, and you've got a positive and a negative that go into each one of those grooves. Once that's aligned, then we're going to want to put this bar back in place, and we're going to screw these screws back down to the baffle. Okay, so once that's in place, we want to reconnect the speaker wires to the tweeter and to the woofer. So remember, the blue goes to the negative of the tweeter, and we're going to connect that till it snaps. Same thing with the positive, and then the negative and the positive of the woofer. There's also a smaller, the negative is the smaller terminal on this. Once all 4 of those are snapped into place, we want to push that back together. Make sure that the seal here is good all the way around. Lastly, we want to put all of the screws back into the enclosure. And we're going to screw all of these down nice and snug. That one's not quite going in. You don't want to force it in. It's got to go nice. You want to use a chuck setting on this if you can, just to make sure you don't overdrive them and strip the screws out. So once all the screws are in, you want to reapply the grill. Now, when you push on the grill, if you push too hard before the edge of the grill, it'll bend the grill. You don't want to do that. So you want to line the grill up and do your best to push the edges in so it sits down inside of the little channel. And if once you get one side in, turn it around and work the grill in very carefully so you don't bend the metal and that you also don't cause any exterior damage to the speaker. And that's it. Once you get that done, everything's all wrapped up.